So I recently had the opportunity to catch up with a phenomenal chiropractor who has decades and decades of experience. His name is Dr. Lester Yoos. Lester, are you there?
I'm here.
It is so good to be chatting with you by phone. So, just so everybody knows, Lester, may I ask, what year did you graduate chiropractic school?
In March of 1956.
So, 1956. And where did you go to school, sir?
Palmer College of Chiropractic.
All right. So,
Davenport, Iowa.
Palmer 56. So, I'm curious, were there any other notable people in your class that we may have heard of, from historical? So you say Sid was in your class. So I'm just curious, what was Sid like as a student back in those days?
Well, how do you want me to explain that?
That is totally up to you. I mean, was he a kind, helpful soul? Did he more keep to himself? Was he? What was Sid like as a very young man?
Well, Sid was a nice guy. Him and his wife Nell, and Gail Rutherford from the East and Mitchell from New Mexico. They were all good buddies, and they kind of did their own thing. The four of them, all good people. They kind of hung out by themselves, and that's how I got acquainted with them. After they graduated, Sid started practice in Georgia, and he wound up starting a chiropractic college.
Right. Of course, Life College, as everybody knows.
Yeah, Life College, right.
So, all right, and thank you for sharing that story. So let's backtrack a little bit. I'm curious. So as a young man, what took you into chiropractic? How did you decide to become a chiropractor?
Well, in February of 1950, I was on a wrestling team, and we were getting ready to go to state, and the coach wanted me to wrestle somebody two weights heavier than me to get ready for state, and the guy twisted my neck some way, and I felt something pop, and I started having symptoms from then on. That was February of 2050.
Well, 1950, right.
Yeah.
So you had this wrestling accident, and then what happened?
Well, I'd have spells where if I would look up high and for 30 seconds, I'd fall over, pass out. I had double vision spells, lost the balance, and we went to Denver. I had 4 or 5 specialists, and they put me on phenobarbital and Dilantin, which is nothing but dope. And finally, after 5 years, my mother said, we're going to send him to a chiropractor. And I went to Dr. Warda one afternoon, and he x-rayed my neck. And my neck was out of place. And if he would adjust it and put it back where it belongs, I would be better. And after my first adjustment, I never had another spell.
It's amazing what happens when you get the bone off the nerve and let the body work the way it's supposed to.
That was in July, first week in July. And then, so he said that I needed to be a chiropractor, and I started thinking about it. The more I thought about it, I went up to college in November and started in January of 53.
That is fabulous. Out of curiosity, do you happen to remember what the tuition was back in 1953?
I sure do.
What was it?
You won't believe this. It cost me $100 matriculation fee.
Well, having just finished helping my daughter get through chiropractic school, I can tell you it's gone up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I worked all the time while I was in school. Had a good job after school, and I made enough to pay for my tuition and for living expense. Had a car and everything, but it was tuition. School was pretty cheap then.
Yeah, I can imagine. So, all right. So you graduated school, and then so how many years did you practice, or did you go work with Dr. Ward right after school?
Well, while I was in school, they the senior year, they pick out 11 top students to work in that's when their BJ Clinic was still working.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to be one of the students.
That's awesome.
And then he rotated every 2 weeks around the clinic, and I liked the part I was in was the rehabilitation part. So I asked Dr. Hazel Farrell if I could stay back there for the full 6 months. She said, yeah, and she said, I'll put you in charge of it. So
Wow.
I ran the rehab thing for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then about the time I graduated, they wanted me to go to work in the BJ Clinic.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said no. Then they wanted me to, 6 months before I graduated, to start teaching
Mm-hmm.
at the college, philosophy and technique. I said, no, I want to get out in the field and practice.
Mm-hmm. So is that what you did at that point? You went out and opened your own practice?
Yep. I got it. As soon as I graduated, I started practicing in Grayville, Illinois.
That is fantastic. I love that. So how many years were you in active practice then?
About 50.
Oh, just 50 years. So
Yeah, that's all.
So if you were speaking to, and you are, young chiropractors, certainly younger chiropractors, all over the world, what would you tell them the important points of chiropractic philosophy are? What do they need to know?
Well, if you believe in the chiropractic philosophy, you have no problem. That was easy for me because of my results of getting my health back.
Mm-hmm.
But the main thing is believe in the philosophy of chiropractic and what it can do to help people.
In your words, so what is the basic chiropractic philosophy as you see it? And again, if you were speaking to students in school today or chiropractors who aren't successful yet, what do you think it is that they need to know that maybe they don't get?
Well, when I went to school, there's saying, get the big idea and all else follows. And if you get the big idea about chiropractic, you got no problems. But you have to believe in what chiropractic is and how it works and how it affects people.
I couldn't agree with you more. So let me ask you a different question, because Deb was kind enough to share with me some of the, I don't want to say antics, I don't want to say shenanigans, I want to say hurdles or obstacles that you had to go through as a younger man in practice before the days of state licensure. Because my understanding is that those medical doctors were calling what we do practicing medicine without a license, and that created problems.
Well, you said shenanigans. I've got a few shenanigans, but we won't go into that. The thing of it is, when I started in practice, the town 15 miles away was a county seat.
Okay.
And you couldn't have your name in your office, or you couldn't advertise as a doctor or nothing. And after several years, I decided a patient painted a sign that said, Doctor of Chiropractic, and I put it on the outside, and the medical doctor drove by and saw it and went to the next county seat, and the sheriff, the judge happened to be a patient of mine.
Yeah.
And he called me and he said, I'm issuing a warrant for your arrest. You get out of town for 3 or 4 hours. So I did.
Okay.
And then that was the second time. The first time, after I was there about 2 or 3 years, I decided to get married.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my announcement I had on there, Doctor of Chiropractic.
Mm-hmm.
And the old MD there in town, I thought we were good friends. We ate lunch together all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I sent him an announcement. He took it down to the county sheriff, and they issued a warrant for my arrest. Same business. Sheriff called me. He'd get out of town for 3 or 4 hours and then come back.
Unbelievable.
that's all the problem I had. Then when I got my license, you're supposed to, whenever you get your license every year, you're supposed to hang it up on the wall immediately.
Right.
And the inspector came along, and I was real busy, and she said, you don't have your new license up on the wall. And I said, well, I probably got it the other day, but I said, well, I got a bunch of stuff on my desk, and I haven't had time to find it. She said, I'm going to sit right here, and we're going to hunt for that thing, and we're going till we find it and we put it up. I got up and I said, lady, I got 9 people out there in my office, and they're a lot more important than you. And you can sit here on your ASS. From now on, I don't care, but I'm going to work. And I stomped out of the office. She sat in there for about 30 minutes and left. And I never I figured I'd hear from the department, but I didn't.
You know, there are few things more important than taking care of people and changing their health and helping them to live a better, easier, healthier life.
I had a patient list. I forget the name. I called it, but anyway, we had meetings once a month, and it was $1 a person a month for the patients to belong to that. And I had several hundred people that belonged to that, and we would go to Springfield as a group whenever they get ready to vote on a license to see whether I get a license or not. And I did that for several years. Finally, I was there 6 years before I got my license.
Wow. Now, when you say you got your license, you're talking about creating licensure in the state of Illinois for chiropractors?
Everything but chiropractic.
So I'd like to ask you a little bit more about that. So in your definition, what does the practice of chiropractic include?
What it includes is spine and subluxation of the spine and remove them by adjustments only.
Okay, that's fair. So, out of curiosity, I'm asking this for my own knowledge. So, if somebody's shoulder is messed up, or their knee, or their elbow, or their hip, can those joints be subluxated?
Sometimes, yes.
So, is adjusting them still part of chiropractic?
It wasn't my practice.
All right. Well, again, I'm absolutely curious and fascinated about your experience and your wisdom. Again, having been a chiropractor for so many decades, and that's what it is. Your opinion.
If somebody came in, a patient, and they had something wrong with them, it was my job to try to get them better.
Mm-hmm. In the course of doing this podcast, I have spoken to chiropractors who do, stem cell and regenerative, practice regenerative healthcare and all kinds of physical therapy and acupuncture and all these other things. And they do all of those things under the umbrella of chiropractic. And I'm just fascinated at how we all look at it so differently.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I get that. So what would you say, so many of these interviews that I have done with doctors who have been practicing 20, 30, 40 years, I'll ask them specifically, what would you say your 3 keys are that made your practice so successful?
Well, first of all, you got to like people.
Mm-hmm.
Second of all, I was a good adjuster. Third of all, I love people.
So I heard liking people in there twice, and knowing how to move a bone properly is important also.
Well, the chiropractic adjustment takes care of that.
Right. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
Like what?
Well, so if you had an opportunity to tell chiropractors, here's what else you need to know in order to be successful. Is there anything else you want to add besides, like people? I mean, really you have to like people. I get that. And you got to be able to do a good adjustment.
You have to believe in what you do.
Okay. I like
Believe
that.
in chiropractic. That's number one.
So when you say you were there 6 years before you got your license, do you mean your personal license, or you mean chiropractors being licensed in the state of Illinois?
That was when we got a law passed where we could write the exam and become licensed in the state of Illinois.
Wow. So you were taking your patients to the state capitol, the state seat,
Yep.
to continue to make a difference and you move the chiropractic mission forward. That is beautiful. That is absolutely beautiful.
That's when I found out I didn't like politicians because we would sit up there in the audience, and half the people in there wasn't even in their seat, and they'd get ready to vote on a bill, and Joe would reach over and punch his buddy's button, and some of them was asleep, and that's why we couldn't get a bill passed, because that's the way they operate.
Wow. That's amazing. So I like to think things have changed a little bit.
Yeah. I built a practice on people coming after you get well once a month. And I took care of entire families. And that's, to me, everybody needs to be under chiropractic care.
Only if you have a spine and a heartbeat is what I think.
That's right. That's right.
If you don't have those two things, you probably don't need an adjustment. But that's my opinion. But I've only been practicing 35 years.
Yep, that's right.
So, Deb, I hear you in the background, and I know you were a previous guest on the podcast. And again, thank you so much. That episode was absolutely fantastic. Also, is there anything else that you think I should ask your dad about? Because you having grown up and know him so well, that we should discuss while we're recording.
Well, I would just like to add, because he's pretty modest. When I graduated from school, which was in 1986, there were patients coming into the office that had been coming since the 60s and 70s. And fast forward that till 2005, 6, and still a lot of those families were coming in. So like second, third, fourth generation, and we had 1 5th generation family. So he's very modest, but he created all that because of the relationships that he built with the patients.
I couldn't agree more. The relationship, these are not patients we take care of. These are people. So having a relationship with people, and, Lester, when you said you have to like people, you have to adjust, and you have to like people, I couldn't agree with that more. These are people. You're involved in their lives, and you're helping them to have the best life possible in our own small way, involvement in their life.
There's not anything any greater than have somebody come in, and most of the people that we get as new patients have already tried other methods of medicine, and it's what makes you feel good when they come in. They've been to 4 or 5 doctors, 4 or 5 specialists, and all they got is subluxation of the spine, and you adjust that, remove it, and they get better.
Oh yeah. In fact, personally, I love when a new patient comes in and they say, I have tried everything. And they may or may not say that we're their last resort, but I'll tell them point blank, the fact that you have tried everything makes my job really easy, because we already know all the things it's not. Now we can go fix it.
I would say 90% of my patients that came to me had already tried other methods.
Sadly, we're starting to run out of time. So how many years were you in active practice?
Almost 50.
Almost 50. That's phenomenal. So, and may I ask, sir, how old are you now? What is your current age?
I'm pretty young. I'm 93.
All right. Well, right. So you're having a midlife crisis. I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in my second childhood.
Amen. So at 93, I'm curious, do you still adjust some people or no?
Well, believe it or not, I still have people in here that I have to work on, but I'm going to retire from that. Let my daughter take it over.
I can only imagine that when you try and tell those patients that they have just received their last adjustment from you, while your daughter is also an amazing chiropractor, I think those people are going to cry, complain, and beg you to continue adjusting them the next time they're in.
They'll just have to get over it.
Doc, can I interject one more thing?
Please.
So this morning I'm sitting here with my dad, and all of a sudden he pulls out his phone and he makes a phone call, and he was actually calling an old patient of ours. And whenever the family first came into the office, they had a baby and a 2-year-old. The whole family came under care at the same time, and those kids are now 30 years old. And for him to take the time to sit down and call her, and it made her day, that really cements for me how important the relationships that we build with people is.
Oh, absolutely. And, right. And the fact that your dad does that, Lester, the fact that you still do that, just speaks volumes about, who you are as a doctor and the difference that you have made and continue to make. If a larger percentage of our colleagues, other chiropractors, did things like that, our profession would just grow so much faster.
Absolutely.
That's right.
So, Dr. Lester Yoos, I can't thank you enough for taking the time and sharing the stories and your knowledge, your wisdom, your historical perspective. This has been absolutely fantastic. And again, I just want to thank you again for being part of this podcast project.
You're welcome. I hope that the younger people graduate. I hope they appreciate what we did for them as well as for chiropractic.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
And I will look forward to chatting with both of you soon. I'll say bye-bye.
Okay. All right. Thank you.